Errol the Truth Spence Jr. clearly has the welterweight division shook. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for all your boxing. Now, I gotta talk about this, and I almost came out in Ego Valley form. Came out, that sounds suspect, pause. But make sure you guys follow me again. Now, First Take had Bob Arum, who's promoting Pacquiao versus Vargas. You have two ways to watch this. You can either A, go to my Instagram, link in the description, or there's a YouTube video. I don't know how long it'll be up because sometimes those videos get flagged for copyright reasons. If you go to the YouTube version, link in the description, fast forward to the 7-minute mark. Now, I wrote a caption and then I'm going to give some thoughts on it. I said, whoa, my dude Errol Spence Jr. got the welterweight division shook. People seem to not want it with him. Whenever his name is brought up, it's, oh, Errol, what has he done? Who has he beat? He needs to fight this guy. He needs to fight a name. How can you fight a name if everyone keeps fronting you off? And I used this example before, very similar to when I first turned 18 or 21 or whatever age, and I wanted to apply for a credit card. I kept getting denied, not because I had bad credit or my parents put something in my name in my credit or phone bills or cable bills in my name, nothing like that. But the reason was because they would send you a letter like, oh, hey, wait 7 days, you'll get a letter in the mail. And then when I get that letter in the mail, it's like insufficient credit history. So I used to work at a credit card company, actually a little bit after that. I think it was when I was 18, I used to work at Providian, and it was a call center customer service, and you had to go all through this training and stuff like that. What they do, they look at the Equifax and all the credit reporting agencies and whatnot, FICO, they look at your FICO score and stuff like that. And what they do is assess the risk. If we loan you $2,000, because that's what it basically is, give you a $2,000 credit limit, will we get our money back, right? Now, if they can get their money back plus some interest, they're good. If they can't, they're gonna flag your account, report you negatively, fuck your credit up, and they know not to trust you in the future. So it's all a trust game. And the system is kind of set up for you to fail, but that's something else. So I should give you guys some life lessons. But anyway, the bottom line is, me as a consumer, I'm like, how can I establish credit if every single time I apply for a credit card, they deny me under the pretense that I have no credit history? So the reason they do that is because you're so neutral, they can't assess if you're a risk or not. So nobody wants to make that first move and like give me credit because they don't know. Maybe I'm great with credit. I could be a future accountant. They don't know. But since they don't know and the risk is there and they don't know what you're capable of, then they'll just deny you off the bat. But then I think I got a Macy's card or something. When I got that Macy's card, everybody, because they seen I was paying it on time and making large payments and using it sparingly, and I was keeping it active and never going over limit and getting credit line increases and stuff like that. And when they seen that, the other companies seen that on my credit score or whatever, however they do it, then all of a sudden they started sending me a shitload of offers for credit cards. And that's how the game works. And that's how the boxing game works as well. What I mean by that is nobody wants to fight certain guys. And then if you see vulnerabilities, like they start getting pieced up in the fight, even if they win. Like let's say Gennady Golovkin killed Brook. People think they seen some vulnerabilities in him. Now you've seen people who otherwise seemed like they avoided him, Billy Joe Saunders and Danny Jacobs, that gave him a little bit of confidence. Same thing like the credit reporting. When they seen I was managing my credit and I was doing my thing and paying on time and stuff like that, and that wasn't an issue, then everybody wants to give me credit. And that's kind of how it goes. But it's like Errol Spence is the person, he was me when I was 18 or whatever, trying to get a credit card. He's trying to get on. He's trying to get that first credit card, that first line of credit, and nobody's giving him a chance. That's what is happening. Like, oh, what has he done? They just want to keep pushing him off to the back burner, right? And my question is this: how can you fight a name if everyone keeps fronting you off? Then he beats Leonard Bundu better than Keith Thurman by nasty KO, which is one of the nastiest knockouts this year. The showing produced 6 million plus views on NBC. You can say, oh, it's the Olympic. It doesn't matter. It's 6 million views and it's on his watch, right? He got rid of a tough and known durable in-shape Chris Algieri, a nutritionist who comes from a fighting discipline, MMA or kickboxing or whatever, and then he turned boxer. When Pacquiao, Ruslan Provodnikov, Amir Khan, a silver medalist in the Olympics, couldn't, even though 2 of the 3 had Algieri hurt but could not pull the trigger and finish him. Kell Brook requested a 60-day medical extension, and I did a video about this. Some of y'all got mad. The 60-day, I'm not saying or suggesting that Kell Brook should fight him, Errol Spence Jr., within the next 60 days. I understand he has an eye injury, but what you guys fail to understand, some of the people who are leaving comments, is this is a 60-day medical extension to not be forced to negotiate, to buy yourself time to negotiate. That's what I have a problem with. Not saying I wanted to see this fight December 17th or anything like that, but this is an extra 60 days to even negotiate. Whether you're injured or not, you could still negotiate terms, find out if there's any problems, like, oh, Errol Spence, he thinks he's 50-50, or this purse split, or he doesn't want to fight in the UK. You know what I'm saying? You can get those parameters whether you're injured or not. I did a video about it. Kell Brook is actually training, light training. It's probably not sparring, but he's still training. So if you can do a physical activity after a medical injury, then you can clearly, you and your team, talk and negotiate terms, right? So the 60-day medical extension, the reason it's frustrating is because it's a medical extension not to fight, but to negotiate the fight, right? Now Bob Arum's saying that Errol is a prospect. How, Sway? Yeah, but it ain't Ralph though. Caleb Plant is a prospect at this point. Errol Spence is a contender, a real life threat to any top dog at welterweight. And I really truly believe it. I say, y'all bugging. Arum said basically Spence is a prospect and hasn't proven enough to earn the Pacquiao fight. Yet in recent years, Pacquiao fought Brandon Rios, who was coming off a Mike Alvarado loss, right? Pacquiao was coming off a KO loss to Marquez in a year layoff, but he could have fought Alvarado. He would have been the favorite KO loss to Marquez or not. He could have fought the champion, you know what I mean? He's still an elite level fighter, right? And he fought Brandon Rios off a loss. He fought Chris Algieri off of a contested one eye. He looked like a cyclops in that fight. He won a split decision, which some people, I think myself and Dan, Raphael, and other people have Ruslan winning. I have to watch it. I haven't seen that fight in so long, but initially I had Ruslan winning, right? So nonetheless, Algieri managed to get through that fight, but it wasn't a domination over Ruslan Provodnikov. He had to dig down. Ruslan had him badly hurt in the first round or two. Then later, Spence would annihilate Chris Algieri. And let me tell you this, Spence is a big welterweight, and he's a southpaw. So Pacquiao's infamous straight left would not be as effective against a fellow lefty. And I do believe that. And I'm not saying Errol Spence goes out there and just easily, because obviously he's never fought anyone as good as Pacquiao yet in his pro career. So I'm not saying he's just going to easily go in there and destroy Pacquiao, but I mean, that's a dangerous fight, and I think Arum realizes that, which is why he's like trying to minimize Spence. Oh, he's a prospect. He's not a prospect. You know what I mean? Like I said, Caleb Plant is a prospect, someone who looks like they have the potential to be very good, still needs some names on their resume. How are you the prospect if you're the #1 contender for Kell Brook's belt and he's buying time and extensions? Like, you know what I mean? You work your way up and you beat 2 names in your last 2 fights. You're no longer a prospect at that point, right? And like I said, watch the fans do what Arum just did and say stuff like Pacquiao is a legend. He has nothing left. He has nothing left to prove, man. This was so funny about boxing fans. If it's a fighter you like when they were talking about Juan Manuel Marquez fighting Ruslan Provodnikov when Ruslan looked very dangerous, was hurting Timothy Bradley and stuff like that. Oh, Marquez is a legend. I love Marquez, but a lot of fans are, oh, he's a legend. He has nothing to prove. He doesn't have to fight Ruslan. He was openly saying, I think the Provodnikov fight no good for me. Like, he was saying it's not a good fight for him for whatever reason. And people and the fans, because they love Marquez, they were like, oh, that's acceptable. He's a legend. Nothing left to prove, right? And that's what they do to Pacquiao. Pacquiao is a legend. Definite Hall of Famer who's done great things in his career. But if he beats Jesse Vargas, why would he not be looking to unify or fight the other top level guys? And Errol Spence Jr., like it or not, is a top level guy and he's not a prospect. You know what I'm saying? But watch the fans, because they're afraid of what might happen to Pacquiao. They'll come up with excuses like, Pacquiao's a legend, man. Nothing left to prove. And I said, but let me guess, Floyd Mayweather, who beat Pacquiao, still has more to prove. He needs to move up to middleweight to fight Gennady Golovkin and laugh out loud. Y'all don't know shit about boxing. Video coming soon. I'm out. Silence. Troy King, please tell these dudes something. So that's my thoughts, man. You guys drop it in the comment section. Errol Spence, he's just too high of a risk at this point. And I did a video 6 months ago, shots fired. Freddie Roach roasts Errol Spence Jr. for Pacquiao remarks made. Freddie Roach was saying things like Errol Spence couldn't hold Pacquiao's bags because post-fight after the Algieri win, Errol Spence didn't even really diss Pacquiao. He just said Pacquiao lacks fundamentals, and I think that's a accurate statement. I think he does lack fundamentals, but at the end of the day, people do whatever works for their style. Pacquiao's very effective lacking fundamentals. You know what I mean? So that wasn't really a diss, but Freddie Roach took it the type of way, and you can't see, this is the thing. The great thing about the internet is you can't eliminate somebody's probably ripped videos and stuff like that. There's interviews, even if like Freddie Roach had it on his channel, which I know he doesn't, so he doesn't have the authority to delete these videos, but he has videos up where he's praising Errol Spence Jr., articles up where he's praising Errol Spence Jr., saying, oh, this kid's badass, I seen him knock out Adrian Broner, I was there, and he's the truth. So whatever you say, you can't try to retract it now, because the threat is getting near and dear to you, you know what I mean, and coming close to home, you know what I mean? So again, Pacquiao's a good fighter. Errol Spence is a very dangerous fight for anybody, not just Pacquiao, anybody. Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Kell Brook is a dangerous fight from anybody. I'm not saying he wins all the fights. It just depends on the parameters and stuff like that and momentum. So you guys let me know what it is. But Bob Arum, he clearly knows, and that's how you could tell when these guys are perceived threats, because you get interviews like this. Like, again, watch the interview. Stephen A. Smith, I like what he did. He said, oh, you guys are talking about Pacquiao with Terrence Crawford. What about my boy Errol Spence Jr. versus Pacquiao? And then you see how quick Arum discounted that and shut that down, right? And this is like the Pacquiao Golovkin situation. That was crazy. Like that is I don't even think that would be realistic, because Pacquiao is too small for that. But Errol Spence Jr., despite him being a big welterweight, he still makes the weight. He's not missing weight. He's in your division. So that's a fight that should and could be made, because it looks like, depending on what Kell Brook does, even if Kell Brook decides to keep the belt and fight Errol Spence, there's a chance that Spence can win that fight. But if he vacates and moves to 54 to pursue Canelo or something, then that's a fellow champion. So it's just a matter of time for Errol Spence. Just keep doing what you're doing. I know he wants to fight all these names and stuff like that. And it's just funny because you always see these patterns in boxing. When someone's perceived as too big of a threat, all the excuses come out. And, oh, he needs to fight this person. Like, all of a sudden, fighters and promoters and trainers start turning into, like, advisors and say, oh, Errol Spence, he need to fight Sean Porter. Like, no, don't try to front him off on Porter. You know what I'm saying? Like saying, oh, he needs to do more. He's trying to do more with you. He's trying to fight you. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I said, my credit analogy. Somebody got to give this kid a chance, but he just has to keep his path and keep his head straight and stay focused. And then eventually those opportunities would come. But I just thought it was funny. I had to do a video about it. Bob Arum saying he's a prospect and stuff like that. And the thing is, he's gonna work. Arum's starting to work with Heyman. I would love to see this, and I guarantee you guys could say this was the fake part about boxing, is the fight. When a lot of you guys like a fighter, you try to prohibit the fight because you know it's a dangerous fight for them, right? You never see people say, oh, you're an Andre Ward lover because you're from the Bay. But notice the toughest fights for Ward: Sullivan Barrera first fight at light heavyweight, Kovalev. I was never against any of those. I never said, oh, Ward should let it marinate and not fight Kovalev. I was like, okay, let's see it. You know why? Because I have confidence in the fighters that I like. You know, I mean, I like Kovalev too, but it is what it is. But some of you guys don't have that confidence. You know what would happen with some of these fighters, or you know at the very least they're very dangerous fights. And the funny thing is, if these fights somehow do come into fruition, all of a sudden those same fans switch their tune like, oh, Pacquiao's such a beast. He's taking on a young, hungry lion like Errol Spence Jr., but you were the same motherfuckers who were actually saying those fights shouldn't happen. Same thing happened with Canelo. A lot of diehard Canelo fans, for years, Lada was calling out Canelo. For years, right? A year and a half at least, right? And they were saying, oh, Lada, nobody knows him, even though he was a top-level guy at 154 and had somewhat of a name, calling him out, and they, oh, no, Canelo shouldn't fight him. And then Canelo gets embarrassed because Lara jumps on stage after the Anguilla win and tries to upstage him. And Canelo's like, went to his boss, Oscar, like, enough is enough. Sign the contract, send me the contract. I got to fight this guy. And against Oscar's wishes, Canelo fought Lara. So myself and a lot of people gave him a lot of credit. But some of the people giving Canelo credit were people who were opposed to the fight happening, making excuses for why the fight shouldn't happen. Like, oh, Lara's a bum, he sucks and he's boring. So it's just funny because I guarantee you, if Errol Spence and Pacquiao happen somewhere in the near future, let's say next year, then all of a sudden people will be praising Pacquiao for taking the fight. Me, it's a good fight. I would want to see it. It's a challenging fight for Errol Spence. It's definitely a challenging fight for Pacquiao. Not the biggest welterweight. He's a bit older. Let me know who wins that fight. But right now, Errol Spence got the game on tilt. Let me know what you think. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.